In this video, I'm gonna give you a behind the scenes look on what I discussed with my client to get this beautiful balayage and cut. So tell me what you've been doing with your hair lately. Like, tell me about your hair routine.
So I try to do a wash every Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
if not at least every other Sunday. 'Cause I
Mm-hmm.
just be busy.
Okay.
I typically go for wash and goes the
Mm-hmm.
most.
Okay.
So I'll shampoo, then condition.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to use more protein
Yes.
because it's been a little dry. It's a
Yeah.
little love.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and then I use influence products to do
Yes,
my
ma'am.
wash and goes.
Yeah, half the battle with color is the protein. That's
Hmm.
what's gonna make the hair stay on your head.
Hmm.
So we want to make sure we do that at least if you're doing like the multiplex every 2 weeks.
Yes, that's what I'm using.
Um, just because we're going lighter and things of that nature. The good thing is your hair is already pretty light, so we're not really taking you a lot lighter. We're gonna bring some brighter pieces around the front, but the
Okay.
rest of it is gonna be like toning it. So
Okay.
we have that dimension of like dark and light, because really that's what we're doing. We're creating like highlights within your hair, because right now it's just dark and light.
Right.
And we want it to be like dimensional, like that girl in the photo.
Okay.
Um, outside of that, are you doing any heat?
No.
Okay, good.
Mm-mm.
I like it. That's better for you.
None at all.
And then your trim. When was the last trim when I cut it?
I think when she did my twist, oh
Okay,
my God, what's
cool.
her name?
Brianna.
Brianna.
Okay,
Yes,
cool, cool,
thank
cool.
you.
All right. So I'm gonna just give you a quick spin so they can see your hair all the way around. Let's see. Get all the volume. Beautiful. All right. Even though your hair got out the frame, they got enough of it. Okay. So what we're gonna do basically is do a quick rinse on your hair first. And then
Okay.
after we rinse it, I'm going ahead and add some highlights in the front.
Okay.
And then basically do between low lights and highlights in the back. So you'll have some darker pieces and some lighter pieces.
Okay.
So it's gonna be real good. And then after that we'll do your cut.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. Any questions,
No.
concerns? Okay. Before coloring anything, I always cleanse my clients first. I put her under the dryer to dry while I went to go mix her color. All right, so for this color process today, I'm using all of my influence color. So I'm going to be using for her base and for her lowlights a combination of 6M and 6G, because I want her to have a warm, kind of almost undertone of red when it comes to her lowlights. I'm going to focus on like the 6M 6G to her roots and to her lowlights. And then for her highlights, I'm doing a mixture of 8N and 10N. These are going to be my go-tos. These are going to be both like blonde, but one is just like a higher lift blonde than the other. I am going to start off with doing some highlights with our blonding cream as well as lightener. Blonding cream is going to give me a more gentle lift than the lightener will. And yeah, we're going to work those together. In the back, she has darker hair. So I'm going to go with that with the highlights. And then in the front, she has a little bit lighter hair. So I'm going to go into that area with the blonding cream just so we can see like the dimension of the highlights. And then we're going to also add lowlights in between with the 6G and the 6M. So it'll all make sense when I go to do it and talk you through it. But it's really important to make sure you take your time to do this part so it ends up doing what you want it to do, because highlights can be a little bit, let's say, complex when it comes to like application time and everything like that. If I had my way today, I would be doing the highlights and the lowlights together. And I'm contemplating on doing that just for timing. Honestly, I think I will. I think I'm gonna do the highlights and the lowlights together just to make sure, I'm as respectable with time as possible. And then after I'm done, I'm gonna go back in and tone everything, because that'll make things a lot easier for me time wise. Don't forget to wear your gloves. If you don't wear your gloves, you're gonna get chemical burns. Don't nobody like chemical burns. So let's get it. Starting off with my 6M. And we'll go ahead and put that in there. Now, here is the fun part where we mix all the colors together. Now, I will tell you this can be a little particular, so there's no need to go over the ounces or the amounts of everything that I use because it will vary from person to person what you need to use. So, it's no one size fits all. Color is so custom that, giving y'all a formula would be a disservice because depending on your hair or your client's hair, you could get the same results using a totally different color depending on where you're starting from. But one thing I will tell you that's super important that I always tell my stylist is that you always want to make sure you mix your colors together if you're mixing multiple colors before you add the developer. That's just going to make sure you have an even distribution. And always with your powder lightener, I like to mix it halfway, not mixing it all the way just so it can stay strong. So I actually started with cutting her hair first and creating some layers so we wouldn't color hair that needed to go. So I went in and highlighted. So I highlighted where you see the foils and low lighted between. So we were getting a good 2 for 1. Highlights and low lights done in one sitting. And then I went in and actually did her root as I was at the halfway point. So we were giving her gray coverage as well as highlighting, low lighting. So it was a 3 part color process, not a game. It took me probably like an hour and a half, and I didn't want y'all to sit here for that. Now that we have colored, we washed, we treated, and you can see the beautiful dimension her hair has. We're working in our K18 treatment, which is a great leave-in mask. And you can see the beautiful tones of blonde she has. It's now in between a cool neutral blonde and a brown in between her highlights. So I'm really in love with the end results of this color. But y'all, when this hair is dry, it's giving on a whole nother level. But before we do that, I wanted to set the curls so you can see the process of me setting the curls. I know that y'all have a video of me doing this on short hair, but I want to show it on medium length hair. So we're using our styling foam at the roots and a gel at the ends for this process. This is my go-to process that I use in all of my videos. It is normally my go-to unless a client wants no hold or no movement. But for the most part, this is what I'm going to use. And you see she's recording because she knows it's going down. So I'm about to give y'all a slower breakdown of this process. I just want to get through most of the head before I start slowing it down and show you exactly what's happening here. So that's the rosemary foam, and I'm using the curl glaze with this process. So we go through and we apply that rosemary foam to her roots first, and that you see right there. We saturate her root, sudsy, and then we use the curl gel actually, the sea moss curl gel. And both of these are from Influence Hair Care, and I'll tag them below. And then we go through and kind of separate and shingle each curl after it's been thoroughly detangled. It's really important that you go in small sections because if you don't go in small sections, when the hair is dry, you got to pull it apart and separate the curls. And the more you separate the curls, the more it creates frizz and you lose the definition and the hold of each ringlet. So all that to say, I'm going in small slices as you can see. I break the section down in slices and smooth it between my fingers and drag and drop. Depending on the section, if the curls are really defined, I just drag and drop it. If it's looser, I go in and shingle as you see me doing. I'm going in and ringleting on the end with my finger just to make sure she gets that nice spiral at the bottom. And then I go and do the same thing towards the front. Now the front, that's the money shot. So you'll find when I get to the front section, I'm gonna do a lot more finger coiling. I'm gonna go ahead and do that slice, smooth it down and drop it, doing a little coiling at the end to make sure her ringlets are bouncing back up. And as you can see, I'm going in and coiling each section after I slice it. And you can see how that causes that curl to spring up around her face. That's why we do it. We don't want the curls drooping and looking, lifeless in the front. Not that her curls are lifeless, but sometimes after you color your hair, it does elongate the curls a bit and it does cause it to look a little bit more limp because we've opened it up. So we want to make sure we bring out the curls just by twirling them around our finger and enhancing them so we can get the most definition and the most bounce when we're done. So I continue that process, and then after I'm done setting her, we put her under the dryer about 20 minutes, and she's like, I guess you could say 65% dry now. I'm using my diffuser to dry the rest, but I always want to make sure the ends are dry before I start doing this because if you're touching the hair while it's wet, you're going to create a whole bunch of frizz when you're touching it and moving it around. You need to create that cast and the hold around the ends before you go in and start lifting. Now that her ends are dry, I can go in with my Dyson and lift at her roots and dry those, because when you're under the dryer, it's hard to get the roots dry. But going through that process throughout her head will just make sure her hair doesn't set flat, but has some body and has some lift and some volume. Because my girl likes volume, and I love that she likes volume. So after I'm done with doing the sides, I have her flip her head, and I do the same thing on the back. I go in and I dry with her head upside down. Same thing, focusing on the roots and any ends that are still a little damp. And I just hold it there, especially if they're damp. I just hold it in place instead of moving it around on the ends. And then I just make sure I'm fluffing hair into the hair, and then once it's mostly dry, I'm going to go in with my pick and create some lift. So now that we've gotten it mostly dry, I'm going in with my pick and lifting outwards just to make sure her hair has some body, it has some volume, and it moves and doesn't just look flat to her head, because it's no fun when you have highlights and you just can't see the movement. So we're going in and fluffing with our pick to create that volume, to make sure when she gets up, her hair can shake and bounce and not just look stiff. But as you can see, I haven't really separated any curls with my finger, because I actually did small sections when I set these curls. So this is all just fluffing with the pick and fluffing with the dryer. I did no curl separation at this point, and you can see how much movement and body the hair has already. So we're about to get to the point where she flips it back. Check this out. Y'all see that? She see that. You see it? It's the feeling herself for me. And now we go in and just continue to fluff it out a little bit more and trim around her frame just to make sure the shape is shaping. And when I tell you, we achieved the look. We achieved the perfect summer blonde balayage with some dimension. As you can see, the curls were given what they were supposed to give. This is it outside versus inside. And y'all can see that movement, that body, that dimension. It's just giving everything it was supposed to give. Yes, I appreciate y'all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all on the next one.